Youth Worker General with the National Youth Workers Convention here in Cincinnati, and I'm pleased to introduce Andrew Marin.
Hello!
Andrew is either very silly or a very strong moral, emotional character because he has chosen to speak about a topic that's kind of been a hot button in a lot of circles for decades, homosexuality. Do you want to kind of summarize what you're doing in some of the sessions you're doing this week here in Cincinnati?
Sure.
Where you're trying to get youth workers to?
Yeah, definitely. Well, my organization is called the Marin Foundation, and our goal is to systemically build a bridge between the broader gay and lesbian community and the church through scientific research and biblical and social education. So ultimately, and what I'm talking about here at NYWC is specifically research for a productive generation. Part of what my organization does. We have just completed the largest national scientific research study ever done in the gay and lesbian community regarding spirituality and religion. So we're going to be talking about some of that preliminary data that we've come up with, and then how that impacts our paradigms and our outlooks of when we do have youth come out, and just youth in general, and what that means to our youth and culture within the church and the secular mainstream community. And the second thing is how to productively build bridges with gays and lesbians. What does it mean, and what do you do, what do you say? The big 5 questions are ultimately the same questions, which are, is it a sin? Is someone born that way? Can someone change? Can someone be gay and Christian? And are gay people going to hell? It's the first 5 questions our youth ask us, and it's the first 5 things that roll around in our head. And I just want to help youth workers understand how to dialogue, be peaceful and productive within these topics, and learn how to elongate the conversation to really make a systemic difference for the kingdom.
And this may be kind of a harsh judgment on my part, but it seems like when a lot of youth pastors or pastors, when they get a hint that somebody kind of might be gay or has some gay issues in the congregation or in the group, they try to give them the right foot of fellowship and move them on to some other place. Or the people they just feel so shamed or hassled, they just move on themselves. Do you think it's possible, if I'm a youth pastor and I've got a group, to actually have, some gay, lesbian teens in my group and still have them be part of a cohesive whole with the rest of us?
Yeah, actually, one of the unique things, when I arrived here in Cincinnati, I got here to the convention center, and this guy walks up to me and he's like, I have to talk to you. And so, I turn around and we start talking, and what happens, he said, I came to your sessions last year. I believe he was in Nashville at NYWC, and he said, I just felt this big burden on my heart. So when I went back home, lives in rural Georgia. So he's like, when I went back home, I looked up any gay group that was remotely close to where I was at that involved youth. I started going to my high school, to my local Gay Straight Alliance. I started going to P-Flag events, which is parents and friends of lesbians and gays. And I just started getting involved, and I just started saying, I'm a Christian, this is my church, my Jesus isn't inside these 4 walls, and I just feel like I need to be here. Next thing you know, within the next year, he's starting to have families come to his church. He's starting to have gay and lesbian people come to his youth group, kids coming to his youth group. And all of this is the ultimate point is that all of this is saying is that something significant can happen for the kingdom. I believe what people can get outside of the church, they can't get anywhere, they can get that anywhere else except inside the church. And I don't think it's too hard to get people in the fold. I think it's a whole nother piece to keep them in the fold. And so what does it mean to hold true to a conservative theological belief system and still yet live it out differently that does something significant? And through his tangible experiences, there have been many youth and many families who have now come to know Jesus Christ and are experiencing this faith and this journey together.
Very interesting. And I don't know how you feel about this, and maybe you don't want to answer this question because you're trying to build friends with churches and stuff like that, but in my humble opinion, a lot of Christians and Christian organizations, I think they've probably done F- in terms of showing a Christ-like attitude towards individual gay or lesbian people. I mean, how do you feel we've been doing the last 10 or 20 years?
Yeah, it's been wretched. It's been wretched because, as you said earlier, and this is me not trying to blame the church, this is me saying we need to cognitively understand and realize who we are, what we're all about, and what we've done to the gay and lesbian community, how we have ostracized them. Once again, this does not mean that we change our theological belief system. That means we live it out in such a way that shows love in tangible and measurable ways. We need to be the first ones to apologize. The church needs to do that, because we're just sitting back here thinking, oh, you know, one day the gay community, they'll wake up, they'll understand, they'll apologize for what they've done. That is nothing of what the Lord asked us to do. He asked us to say, what is your countercultural call in living in relation to and relationship with? Dave Gibbons wrote a recent book, The Monkey and the Fish, and in that book, the entire baseline fundamental thesis of it is that during Jesus' day, the cultural understanding of what it meant when he said, go and love your neighbor as yourself, literally meant to go and find the person most unlike yourself and relentlessly pursue them. Who is that person in the church today, in our culture? That is the gay and lesbian community. We should not be hiding from them. We should not be just sitting here behind our fences talking bad about them. We need to be outside the walls. We need to be relentlessly pursuing the gay and lesbian community with Christ, and that's what this thing is all about, and the church has unfortunately failed in that.
Yeah.
Part of what I'm trying to do is mobilize the body, unite the body to say, this is what we need to do, and here's how we need to go about doing that together.
And I assume you've seen the segment in the movie Lord Save Us from Your Followers where, what's the guy's name?
Dan Merchant.
Yeah, Dan Merchant tries to I assume you've seen that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you'd recommend folks see that, right?
Right, for sure. For
Okay,
sure.
I know you got to go do a few seminars back to back
Yeah.
for like the next 10 hours or
Right.
something like that. Is there anything we want to know what's your website, and also is there any just final word of encouragement you might want to say to youth workers in terms of moving into this area instead of just ignoring it, forgetting it, or whatever?
Definitely. Well, my organization's website is www.themarinfoundation.org, all spelled out, Marin, M-A-R-I-N. I blog daily at loveisанorientation.com, which is also the title of my recent book, Love is an Orientation. And then the one piece of advice that I would give to youth workers is say this: listen, there is no easy icebreaker. There is no easy way to go about talking about this, to bring this up. There's no easy way to live it out. But what we have to understand is that we can't understand what it is like to have a same-sex attraction. Think about this. Within the cultural understanding of the church, when someone has a same-sex attraction, whether they act on that or they don't act on that, they're automatically cast as deviant to mainline Christianity. Because I am straight and I am white and I'm male, I have no idea what that's like. So I need to stop trying to find nice little analogies, socially constructed boxes that fit, that say, oh, I can get it because here. God doesn't only work when we know what the outcome is going to be, and it's time we start living in faith, just with the gay community as we do with so many other populations of people.
Well, hey,
all right.
You're either a brave or a silly man, but I think I like you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.